Now you know full well what the penalty is for barking while I'm recording. Go ahead, you gotta do it. Well, first you whip, and then you nay-nay, and then you whip, then you nay-nay. Howdy folks, and welcome back to another episode of Tyria Talk. My name is Richie Procopio, aka Bog Otter, and this show is all about Guild Wars 2. Today is episode number 83, and today I would like to talk about the free-to-play announcement that Guild Wars 2 made at PAX Prime a few weeks ago. I've taken a couple of weeks to really think about it and look at the community's reaction. I kind of wanted to talk about it because I think it's a pretty big deal, and I think it's a little bit interesting how the whole announcement went down. For anyone who might have missed the announcement, ArenaNet has revealed that Guild Wars 2 is now free to play. Anyone can create an account and download the game and start playing right now. And there's a few restrictions to what the account can do, but in general, most of the content is available to you that everybody else has been playing for a couple of years now. And I'll go over some of the restrictions in a little bit, and I'll put a link in the description below if you want to read all about that. But the announcement came, and Michael Bryan kind of created a picture of why they're doing this and what this means for like future expansions and different things. And they basically said that they've looked at the MMO model and they want to encourage new players to come in the game, and that when you're releasing an expansion or even expansions, part of the problem with attracting a new player is they feel like they've got so much to do in order to catch up, and they have so many versions of the game, random dog bark, they have so many versions of the game they have to purchase in order to play with their friends. So one of the ways they alleviate some of that is the fact that like when the Heart of Thorns expansion comes out, they're actually not increasing the level cap. There will be horizontal progression with the mastery system, but you won't have to catch up a whole bunch of levels. But the other way is to make it so people don't have to buy a whole bunch of stuff in order to play with their friends. So what their model is going to be for right now is you purchase the Heart of Thorns expansion, and that upgrades your account to a full account, and you get all the expansion content. And then down the line, when ArenaNet launches its second expansion, Attack of the Llamas, you won't have to purchase the core game or Heart of Thorns. You could just jump right into Attack of the Llamas. I would totally play Attack of the Llamas. So it creates this situation where you just always have to just catch up once by buying the latest and greatest. So let's talk about this a little bit. It's an interesting model for a few reasons. The first reason is I really wish back a couple months ago when they first unveiled the ability to pre-purchase the Heart of Thorns expansion, they kind of mentioned that that the core game was included for free in that. And we didn't have this context that they were going to go completely free to play, create free accounts. And a lot of community, there was a lot of backlash about it. And I'm sure hindsight is 2020. Maybe if they knew then what they know now, they would have unveiled that whole plan back, maybe even before the pre-purchase went live, and that might have been a different way. I think what they were probably trying to do is they were trying to save some more big reveals for, PAX Prime and kind of leading closer to the release of Heart of Thorns so they could still keep the buzz going. And in doing so, I think it confused some players and sent the wrong message a little bit when the pre-purchase came out, and it upset a lot of the veteran players. We've talked about this in a previous Tyria Talk episode. Because the common feedback with all this thing is, oh, okay, so now the game is completely free to play. What do I get as a veteran player who paid for the game and stuff like that? And they did reveal as part of this PAX Prime thing that all veteran players got a new outfit for free sent to their account, and it's a really cool armor set, and a lot of people have been wearing it around Tyria these days, and it looks kind of cool. What is it? The Royal Guard outfit, I think it's called. Another reason why I think this is an interesting announcement is a lot of times when an MMO announces that they're going free to play, right, that anyone can just download it, it's a sign of financial weakness, and it kind of spells that the company and that the franchise is in trouble. You see this all the time, where a game has to convert to free to play, and then they get renewed life afterward. It seems to be a model that once you switch to, it does help out, but sometimes that the damage is already done and a lot of your community is already left, and it's kind of hard to grow from that point forward. We've seen this time and time again in recent years. Star Wars: The Old Republic had to make the switch to free to play. Elder Scrolls Online, WildStar, and the list goes on. And it's interesting that this is different. It is different in that Guild Wars 2's never had a subscription-based model, right? It's always been a buy the box and you can play for free. And these other games I mentioned are subscription-based models, and the leap to free-to-play, takes away that subscription cost. But what I found interesting about it is I didn't see personally, there could have been, I didn't see personally the news articles and different news outlets picking up this story going, oh, Guild Wars 2 has gone free-to-play, and that spells doom and gloom for the game. I think that's interesting to me, because that was, I used to write for these sites, right? And anytime an MMO went free-to-play, you were called upon to jump on an article and analyze what this means, and does this spell doom for the game, or is this a sign of things going wrong? And that was never done. I didn't really scour the internet looking for it. I'm sure there might be an article or two out there, but in general, people weren't focused on that, because I think Guild Wars 2's business model is different. I think people, we've seen the financial records of NCSoft and during the quarterly calls and stuff like that, and it looks like Guild Wars 2 is doing pretty well. And what's interesting is almost none of their revenue, I think it's something like 14% of their revenue comes from like box sales, and like everything else comes from the gem store and people buying things. So it totally makes sense from that perspective to, all right, you know what, let's make the core game free to play. We'll make some box sales on the expansion, of course, but most of our money is converting people into regular players and then wanting things from the gem store. So obviously, the more people that jump in, and the more your population base is, the higher your revenue will be, because even if the percentage of people that actually buy gem store items remains the same, you have a larger population base and therefore more money. Voila! So I think overall this is going to be a great change for the company. Now, what about like everything for the player base in general? There's always concerns when you have free to play. Anybody can make an account, and like, oh man, there goes this super friendly community that we love, and now we're gonna have so many trolls, and we're gonna have so many bad news players in the game. It's gonna ruin the community that we have. And I understand that concern. And what I loved about the Guild Wars 2 community is there was that commentary going on, but at the same time, like as soon as that announcement was made, I logged into the game and I went to Queensdale, and there were tons of people, tons of veteran players already camped out in all the newbie zones with welcoming new players, offering to help and run around, putting down buff plates and different things like that. And it was like, that was so heartwarming. It was like, okay, yeah, so despite the fact that there might be some negative things from a free-to-play announcement, the community rallied together, and I've seen, videos come out and live streams and forum posts all welcoming new players, and I've seen a lot of threads on Reddit where new players have gone, wow, you guys are great, you guys have helped me so much. So I love the fact that the Guild Wars 2 community kind of continues to try to fight the conventions of the online communities being a negative thing. Now there are concerns about that, right? When you have a large influx of people, you do wonder about like what kind of people are going to be jumping in here, and whether they're going to be a lot of bots and people spamming and trying to sell gold, and all kinds of negative influences. But I think ArenaNet really did a good job putting a lot of restrictions on the accounts. The number one thing I was concerned about while I was watching the live stream announcement was, well, if you could just create free accounts, what about login bonuses, right? You could just create a whole bunch of free accounts and just log in every day, and then you can just accumulate a lot of free stuff and a lot of stuff like that. Well, first of all, they don't give you login rewards, so they thought of that, so that's great. And the other thing is you have very limited access to the trading post. You can buy some things on the trading post, but there's a limited list. You can't you can't use like guild banks. You can't really send mail. Like I have a whole list of descriptions. I'm gonna put the link in this in the description below. But just real quick, some restrictions on this kind of thing. In-game mail you can only send to mutual friends, and you can't send gold or items. So it's basically just messages. You don't have guild bank access, so you can't abuse things in that way. You can whisper mutual friends, but you can only whisper in the same map, and only one new person every 30 seconds. That'll cut down on spamming messages, right? You can't have map chat at all. And PvP chat, team chat is always available, but chat in the PvP lobby is not unlocked till you have a character of level 20. And you don't have to worry about all these free accounts kind of ruining your world versus world experience, because you have to get a character to level 60 before you can try world versus world. So there's other restrictions like that. What I think is great about the restrictions is it's there to protect the community, and there's not a whole bunch of restrictions on the content, right? I played Lord of the Rings Online, and this may have changed because this is years ago. I played Lord of the Rings Online as a free account at one point, and like I would go to a new zone and like the content wasn't available, and like a little pop-up would appear and say, hey, you can purchase this content and blah blah blah. So you're kind of hit in the face all the time with, oh, I'm on a free-to-play account. And that's not always friendly. I mean, I understand that model, and it probably works well as in addition to other options. But I love the Guild Wars 2 way. It just really the content is available. The whole game is available if you put enough time and energy into it. Like the starting zones are, that's the other little restriction is starter maps only until your character reaches 10. After you hit 10, then you can go outside the starter areas. And if you want to go to Lion's Arch, you have to get to level 35. But other than that, you can kind of just go wherever you want. And you only have 2 character slots, and you only have access to 3 inventory slots, like where you can put bags until you upgrade the account. But I think in general you can experience most of the game, and it's a pretty inviting. You know what, the game's I obviously play the game a lot, and folks that are listening to this video play the game a lot, I would imagine. And there's just so much content, and it's a gorgeous world, and there's a lot to do. You can't ask for much more for free. And then if you want to get into like the Revenant and then the story that's going forward, when the expansion comes out, you have to buy Heart of Thorns expansion. So, overall, the more players, the merrier. The more players that are in the game enjoying it, the more the game feels alive when you're playing it, the more enjoyment you can get. The better financial results Arena gets, the more they're going to be able to put into the game. And, so I just see this free-to-play thing as overall a very positive thing. The one thing I wish, and I mentioned this before, I wish they were a little bit, they put out this announcement a little bit better. I would have loved to have seen this announcement come in the spring sometime, before Heart of Thorns even went live for pre-purchase, so people can kind of think about this, and people can start jumping into the game. And then the pre-purchase announcement could have gone live, and people would have understood a little bit better what the long-term vision was, and maybe some of those complaints that happened around that time would have been a little bit easier to swallow. There were still some valid issues, with how things are communicated, and this switch, why have all of those $10 core game sales going on when the ultimate goal was to actually make it all free to play? Those things kind of sit a little bit funny. Now, on the one hand, free to play didn't go live until the end of August, and anybody who purchased the game for $10 in February or March or April or May or something like that, they had months to play the game. So, as long as they were actively playing, they probably got their $10 worth. But in general, that's kind of how I wish it would go down. But other than that, I don't really have any complaints. I love the restrictions they put in place, and I'm excited to see and watch the player base grow for Guild Wars 2. So that's going to wrap things up. Let me know, what do you think of the free-to-play announcement down below? Do you have any concerns about it? Do you think the restrictions are done well, or do you think there's other ones? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when future videos are released. And if you have anybody who wants to join us in Tyria for absolutely free, I have a link down in the description below. If they create an account using that link, then that directly supports my channel and would help me out a lot. I hope everybody has a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!